sauri ki matsa dana. Ki sauri ki matsa. Kai ki fito.
Wani ba wasu speaker ba.
Ala Allah ki dai duba. Okay, cikin mota. Okay, you are welcome. Please, can you see my board clearly? Please, Idara, tell them that, okay, we are using this link. Idara, can you hear me? Okay. Please tell them that we are using this. Okay, tell them that in the group. Please share it among your networks. So you are all welcome, and I hope you are all. So without wasting much of our time, as we agree that today we are going to start with the concept of metabolism. So please don't forget to subscribe, follow, and share my YouTube community so that at least you can engage more members. So of course, as we all agree, we are going to start with the introduction to metabolism. Introduction to metabolism. So what is metabolism, ladies and gentlemen? Metabolism is the sum total of all biochemical reactions that take place in the body. So generally in the body of living organisms, each and every physiological activities, everything that we are doing is controlled by thousands and the millions of reactions that are taking place in our body. So that is why, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand that actually in this class, we are going to start with the basic introduction to metabolism. So what is metabolism? Metabolism is the sum total of all biological reactions, of all biological or biochemical reactions that are taking place in a cell. So as I said, when we said metabolism, ladies and gentlemen, it's a sum total of all biological reactions that are taking place in a body of a living organism. And you should understand that each and every living organism has a number of reactions. that are taking place in their body. Like, for example, as a human, the complex nature of our DNA is different from other organisms. So that is why the number of reactions that we undergo varies from one organism to another and depend actually on the complexity of the genome of the living organism, that is the DNA. So as I said, when we said metabolism is a sum total of all the reactions that are taking place in the body. Like now, currently I'm talking. This talk is taking place because there are a number of reactions that are taking place in my body. And problem of the reactions that are associated with talking, with seeing, will lead to eye defect and so many other problems. So you need to understand that most of the diseases that we are talking about, they have biochemical basis. Because sometimes it may be as a result of problem with some reactions. Sometimes it may be associated with the deficiency of some proteins that are associated with a number of reactions. So that is why in this introduction, we are going to introduce you to different types of reaction as well as I'm seeing actually, we are going to see these types of metabolism and how it operates. So now, types of metabolism. So as I said, ladies and gentlemen, in metabolism, it is sum total of all reactions that are taking place in the body. Like in every minute, in every living, in every minute, there are millions of reactions that are taking place in our body. There are millions of reactions that are taking place in. I am seeing because of the reaction. I am working because of a number of reactions. So sometimes we fall sick because there is a problem that is associated with the reactions that are taking place in our body. So now we are going to look at the types of the reactions that are taking place in our body. Number one, who can give me one types of metabolism? Because this is something that we have already discussed because I sent you videos on most of these things. But today we are going to look at them in our live class. So now I want you to tell me what are the types of metabolism. Give me one, please. Types of metabolism. Can you give me one? Excellent, Idara Friday. You are always on point. So we have catabolism. And then you also mentioned that, yes, I mean, now that T. So we have catabolism, and number two, we have anabolism. And then number three, we have what again? Apart from catabolism, anabolism, then what other one do we have? Yes, we have amphibolism. We have amphibolism. So now, what is catabolism? So when we said catabolism is when you have a complex molecules, a huge molecules, a larger molecule. So when you have a huge molecules or a large molecules break down into smaller ones or into pieces like this. You see here you have a larger molecules, but it's breaking down from large molecules into smaller one. And in the process of this catabolism, it involves the release of energy. That is, ATP is generated. So if you look at this catabolism, you will realize that you have a larger molecules and it breaks down into smaller one. This is a larger molecule, and it breaks down into small molecules. So catabolism is a types of metabolism where a larger molecules break down to produce smaller ones in the body. And we have different examples of catabolism. Please, I think we have did a number of catabolic reactions from the videos that I sent to you. So who can give me examples of catabolic reaction in the body? Examples of catabolic reaction in the body. Who can give me examples of catabolic reaction that are taking place or that is occurring in the body? Yes, catabolic reaction. No solution. No, no, no. Examples of catabolic reaction. That is what I am asking. What are the examples of catabolic reaction? Catabolic reaction. Nobody? Okay, Idara Friday said, okay, glycogenolysis. Okay, Idara Friday said, okay, so glycogenolysis. So actually, when we said glycogenolysis, as he mentioned, glycogenolysis is a breaking down of glycogen into glucose. Excellent, I accept this. So in glycogenolysis, you break down glycogen into glucose. So it's actually example of catabolism. Then what other examples do we have apart from this? Apart from glycogenolysis, what about glycolysis? Glycolysis is actually breaking down of glucose to produce two molecules of pyruvates, and along the process, ATP are all generated. And ATP is the energy currency of a cell. So that is what we call catabolism. So when you have a larger molecules break down into smaller ones in the process, the process is called catabolism and energy are generated. And then at the same time, we have what you call anabolism. So what is anabolism? Let me ask actually, what is anabolism? What is anabolism? What is anabolism? I'm asking, what is anabolism? No, gluconeogenesis is not actually examples of catabolism. So now what is the example? What is anabolism first? Anabolism, I want you to start from there. What is anabolism? The types of metabolism whereby smaller molecules be used to form macromolecules. Yes, I can accept this. So actually, in the case of, let me lend the board. So actually, in the case of anabolism, you have a smaller molecules build themselves, build themselves. Smaller molecules build themselves to produce a larger one. So it's like the opposite of catabolism. So in the case of anabolism, smaller molecules they join together, but with an input of energy, they need ATP. So in the case of anabolism, these smaller molecules join together using an ATP. So ATP is used to activate these smaller molecules to join themselves to form a larger one, and this is what you call anabolism. And examples of this anabolism, of course, as we mentioned, of course, under this, we have, who can give me examples of anabolism? Like the gluconeogenesis you mentioned, gluco, gluconeogenesis. And then another one we have glycogenesis. So we have many examples. Apart from apart from this, then we have amphibolism. So what is amphibolism? So in the case of amphibolism, it is actually a type of metabolism that involve both catabolism and anabolism. So when you have a reactions in which you have both catabolism and anabolism taking place at the same time, that is what you call amphibolism. So amphibolism is when you have both catabolism and anabolism taking place at the same time. That is what we describe as amphibolism. Please, do you understand? And amphibolism taking place at the same time, that is what you call amphibolism. Please, are you following? Are you following? Please, are you following? Okay, excellent. So this is actually the different types of metabolism. So the next thing is metabolic pathway. That is the next thing that we are going to discuss. Metabolic pathway. Okay, the next thing is metabolic pathway. This is not clear. Pathway. Metabolic pathway. That is what we are going to discuss. Okay, let me try because please, I hope you doesn't experience network issue. Okay. Metabolic pathway. When you said metabolic pathway is defined as a series of reaction is defined as a series of reaction is defined as a series of reactions in which the product the product of one enzyme enzyme serve serve as a substrate serve as a substrate of the next enzyme. So this is actually one of the very important things that you need to understand. Okay, excellent. So very important. The what series. It is very important in the nation. So it's defined as a series of reactions. It means that there are number of reactions. So it's defined as a series of reaction in which the product of one enzyme serve as a substrate of the next enzyme. So what actually happens in the metabolic pathway, you have A will be converted into B, and then B will be converted into C, and then C will be converted into D. So A is converted into B by enzymes 1, and then B will be converted into C by enzyme 2, and then C will be converted into D by enzymes 3. So what does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? Look at it. This is a series of reaction because it is not a one reaction. It involves many reaction. And from here you can see that A is converted into B by enzymes 1. So remember, in a reaction from your previous biochem 241, this is what you call a substrate. This is a substrate. So A is converted into B. So it means that the product of A is B. So B now is a product. And as you can see, this B will now serve as a substrate to these enzymes. It will now serve as a substrate to this enzyme. And then, of course, enzymes 2 will convert B into C. So what does that mean? In metabolic pathway, you have A as a substrate converted into B, and a B is a product of this enzyme, which also at the same time, the product of enzymes 1 will now serve as a substrate by enzymes 2, and enzymes 2 will convert B into C. So C is a product of enzymes 2, which serve as a substrate to enzymes 3, and then C will be converted into D by enzymes 3, and then the D also at the same time will serve as a substrate for enzymes 4. So that is why it is called a metabolic pathway, because it involves a series of reaction in which the product of one enzyme will now serve as a substrate of the next enzyme. So the product of these enzymes will now serve as a substrate of the next enzymes, and the next enzymes here is enzymes 2. Please, do you understand? Do you understand the meaning of metabolic pathway now? Do you understand? Please, do you understand? Excellent. So this is what you call metabolic pathway, and you need to know the definition. The definition of metabolic pathway is that it's defined as a series of reaction in which the product of one enzyme will now serve as a substrate of the next enzyme. And we also have different types of metabolic pathway. We have different types of metabolic pathway. Number one, we have different types of metabolic pathway. Types of metabolic types of metabolic pathway. Please, is there anybody that knows the different types of metabolic pathway? What are the types of metabolic pathway? Who can give me some? What are the types of metabolic pathway? What are the types of metabolic pathway? Who can give me one? What are the types of metabolic pathway? So if there is no answer, let me answer it. Number one, the types of metabolic pathway we have linear pathway. And then number two, we have circular pathway. We have circular pathway. And then number three, we have spiral. We have spiral pathway. But I think from these words, when we said linear, it means that they are in straight line, either vertically or horizontally. Then circular, it means in cycle. Then spiral means in spiral shape, like spring. So now, let me ask you this question. I think even from here, from the word linear, circular, and spiral, you can give me example, or you can give examples of any linear pathway. So please, who can tell me which of the pathway do we have that is linear? Please, the linear pathway, I need example. Thank you very much, vlogs. So I have friends from India. So thank you very much, and I'm happy. So what are the, who can give me examples of linear pathway? Linear pathway. From the word linear means the pathway that is in straight line. And I think based on some of the videos that I sent to you, you will definitely know some of these linear pathway. Mabel, you are welcome. Thank you very much, and I'm happy that you are here. Example of linear pathway, please. Aisha to Ali, where examples of linear pathway? Okay, so let me write it. So examples of linear pathway, we have glycolysis, we have glyco, we have glycolysis. It is linear. If you look at the glycolysis started like A to B and then B, we have Krebs cycle. Then for the spiral pathway, we have fatty acid biosynthesis. We have fatty acid biosynthesis. So this is actually the examples of linear, circular, and spiral pathway. So we have different, these are the different types of metabolic pathway. Please, do you understand so that we can proceed to the next step? Do you understand so that we can proceed to the next step? Excellent, Aisha. That is TC Eva. That is the Krebs cycle. So can we proceed? Do you understand this? Please, are you following so that we can start? We can go deep to look at some of this pathway. Are you following? Okay. So then the next thing that we are going to do now is glycolysis. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we said glycolysis, it's very simple, and you may be asked to define glycolysis. So, what is glycolysis? So, if you are trying to define glycolysis, the first thing that you should never forget in glycolysis is glyco here means glucose. So, in glycolysis, the first thing to remember is that glucose. And then you have the word lysis means breaking down. So mean that in glycolysis, glucose is breaking down. So what are the products? When glucose breaks down, it produces two molecules of pyruvates. So that's the first thing. In glycolysis, if you ask to define glycolysis, so you can start by defining glycolysis is the process that involves breaking down of glucose into two molecules of pyruvates. But along the way, in this glycolysis, there are some important things that you need to know. So glycolysis is a series of enzymatic reaction, is a series of enzymatic reaction in which glucose break down, in which glucose break down to produce two molecules of pyruvates. That is number one. Then plus two molecules of ATP plus two molecules of NADH plus 2H. So these are the things that you should never forget when it comes to defining glycolysis. That glycolysis is a process that involves the breaking down of glucose to produce two molecules of pyruvate, two molecules of ATP, and two molecules of NADH plus 2H. So this is something that you should never forget when it comes to the issue of glycolysis. You need to understand that before this glucose is breakdown or broken down, it requires some important coenzymes and cofactors. And these coenzymes, before two molecules of ATP are generated, you need two molecules of ADP. And then, so it means that glucose break down using two molecules of ADP to produce two molecules of pyruvate and two molecules of ATP. And apart from two molecules of ATP at the same time, glucose utilizes two molecules of NAD plus. So if you are defining glycolysis, so you can define glycolysis as the process in which glucose break down by utilizing two molecules of ADP, two molecules of NAD plus to produce two molecules of pyruvate, two molecules of ATP, and two molecules of NADH plus 2H. So this is the correct definition of glycolysis, and wherever you define or you give this definition, it is generally accepted. So then what is the next thing after defining glycolysis? So who can tell me in a cell where glycolysis takes place? Is it in the mitochondria? Is it in the Golgi body? Is it in the endoplasmic reticulum? Is it in the lysosomes or ribosome? Please, where glycolysis takes place in a cell? I need this answer now. Okay, Mabel said she didn't get the circular pathway. So circular pathway, it is a type of pathway that occur in a circular manner. So it occur in circular path. An example is citric acid cycle. Excellent. Idara Friday. So glycolysis takes place in cytoplasm or cytosol. So glycolysis takes place in the cytosol, not mitochondria. So glycolysis is take place in the cytosol. Then the next question, glycolysis is taking place in the cytosol. Why is it that glycolysis is taking place in the cytosol, not in the mitochondria? That is the next question. Is the definition I said glycolysis is the process whereby glucose utilizes two molecules of ADP, two molecules of NAD plus to produce two molecules of pyruvate, two molecules of ATP, and two molecules of NADH plus 2H. And where this glycolysis takes place, it takes place in the cytosol. That is for that one. And then now the next question is what cytoplasm? Sorry, where is it that glycolysis is only taking place in the cytosol? Why not in the nucleus? Why not in the mitochondria? That is the next question. Why in the cytosol? Why in the cytosol? Yes, I'm asking why in the cytosol. Don't know, sir. Please explain. Okay. So the reason why glycolysis is taking place in the cytosol is because all the enzymes that are responsible for glycolysis are localized in the cytoplasm or in the cytosol. Because in a cell or in a metabolism, we have what you call compartmentalization. Compartmentalization. When we say compartmentalization, cells are okay, all the enzymes involved in glycolysis are located there. Excellent, Idara Friday. That is the correct answer. Those the necessary enzymes are present in the cytoplasm. So that is the answer. Enzymes that are responsible for the glycolysis, they are localized, they are located, they are present in the cytosol. That is why they compartmentalize themselves in order for effective glycolysis or glycolytic pathway to take place. So that is a compartmentalization of glycolysis. So after this glycolysis, sorry, so we now talk about glycolysis is taking place in the cytosol because all the enzymes are localized there. So now the next question is that how many steps do we have in glycolysis? How many steps do we have in glycolysis? That is the next question. Yes, excellent, happy Shehu. So we have 10 steps. We have 10 steps in glycolysis. It means that we have 10 reactions in glycolysis. Brilliant. So now, glycolysis is divided, these 10 steps are divided into three. These 10 steps are divided into three. we have three phases of glycolysis. What are the phases of glycolysis? That is the next question. What are the phases of glycolysis? Sir, I study breakdown of glucose for fructose and sucrose. No, it's not correct, Kumar. The real definition, I already said it. You can always revisit the video. So now I am asking, please. Um, we are talking about compartment. Sorry, we are talking about the phases of glycolysis. So what are the phases of glycolysis? We have three of them. Please, who can mention them? The phases of glycolysis. No answer? I'm talking about the phases of glycolysis. Okay, no answer? So let me answer it myself. So the phases of glycolysis, we have number one, investment phase. We have investment investment phase. And then number two. So now after saying investment phase, who can tell me another one? Yes, energy investment phase. Yeah, excellent. Irara. So what again? After energy investment phase, what do we have next? Yes, two, payoff phase. Or you can, because the third one is the splitting phase, you can call it payoff. You can call it payoff stage or phase, payoff phase, or you can call it energy generating phase, or you can call it energy generating phase. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the phases of glycolysis. We have investment phase, we have splitting phase, we have payoff phase, or energy generating phase. So this is actually the important thing or the most important things that you need to know in the general introduction to metabolism. We have glycolysis, sorry, we define metabolism that as we define glycolysis as a sum total of all biochemical reactions that are taking place in the body. So we talk because there is a reaction. We see because there is a reaction. We hear because there is a reaction. Some people are losing their hearing because there is a problem with one or two reactions. We lose our seeing or vision when there is a problem with one or two reactions. So that is why if it comes to the issue of diseases, there are biochemical bases for almost each and every disease. So there is no single disease that you cannot look at it from the biochemical point of view. It is very important because of the importance of biochemistry, that whenever you lose the concept of metabolism, you will begin to have a problem with disease diagnosis and so many other things. And also at the same time, we talk about the different types of metabolism, where we talk about we have anabolism, we have catabolism, and then we have anabolism. So catabolism is when you have a larger molecules break down to produce a smaller molecules. In the process, energy are generated. Like in this glycolysis, you see energy are generated in the form of ATP. So because glycolysis is a catabolic pathway, so it breaks down from one molecules into two molecules of fibrate. So it's catabolism. And then at the same time, we talk about anabolism, where smaller molecules join together to produce huge one, produce larger one, and energy is utilized in the process. So that is what we call anabolism. And then we have amphibolism, and amphibolism is when you have both catabolism and anabolism are taking place at the same time. And examples of the pathway that has amphibolic nature, we have citric acid cycle. And then we talk about metabolic pathway, where we talk about that in a metabolic pathway, a series of enzymatic reactions where the product of one enzyme serve as a substrate of another enzyme. And then after that, we talk about the different types of metabolic pathway, where we talk about linear pathway, we talk about circular pathway as well as spiral pathway. And after doing that, then we also talk about the different, uh, sorry, we just look at the glycolysis, or we talk about that glycolysis is one of the metabolic pathways where glucose molecules break down using ATP, sorry, ADP and NADH to generate two molecules of pyruvate, two molecules of ATP, and two molecules of NADH. Please, is that, are you following? So that is actually what we call glycolysis. So this is actually like a general introduction to the class. Can we continue or we should stop here so that at least you digest the general introduction, and then the next time maybe we can delve into the complete glycolysis to look at how one reactions or how the reactions occur. What do we do? Can we stop here? Yes, I am from Nigeria. Shizuka. Yes, I'm from Nigeria. So can we continue or we should stop here so that we can continue tomorrow? Which one? Yes. Can we continue or we should stop here so that we can start tomorrow? We can start with glycolysis tomorrow. And don't forget to click subscribe. So yeah, to click subscribe so that you can always have or you can always get our notification. Tomorrow I think we are going to do physiology, the human physiology. Yes, okay, so I think we can stop here so that tomorrow we are going to start with physiology, because this is just a general introduction and we are going to continue. Yes, because we are actually going to maintain the live class, and also at the same time, you'll keep watching the videos and then we'll also be doing live classes. Okay, you're asking about what ATP, what about how about ATP? Yes, when we said ATP is adenosine triphosphate, and it is the energy that we use in doing everything. As I am talking now, is because I have ATP, and if I have low ATP or doesn't have any ATP, so it means that there is no anything. I can't do anything. So this is the energy. When you say that, okay, I have energy, means that I have ATP. I don't have energy means there is no ATP. Okay, so thank you very much. So tomorrow we are going to continue. Yeah, we are going to maintain the same 8 p.m. So tomorrow we are going to do physiology, human physiology 228. So thank you very much and bye bye. See you tomorrow. Thank you. Tomorrow is physiology.